society, when previously separate currents of history suddenly converge with profoundly unpredictable results. City of Quartz, in a nutshell, is about the contradictory impact of economic globalization upon different segments of Los Angeles society. In 1990, Los Angeles had been governed for almost a generation by a nationally unique coalition of downtown business interests, West Side entertainment industry Democrats, and South Side black voters. After the helter-skelter of the 1960s, when the reactionary populism of rogue Mayor Sam Yorty had come perilously close to wrecking the city, the administration of Mayor Tom Bradley, elected in 1973, represented the first sustained experiment in government by elite consensus. The long conflict between West Side and downtown elites ended in a historic compromise that included West Side support for accelerated downtown redevelopment, and a downtown, especially Chandler Dynasty, support for a largely Democratic city hall. West Side downtown cooperation under the honest brokerage of Tom Bradley made possible the most ambitious expansion of municipal infrastructure since William Mulholland built the original aqueduct. Indeed, the greatest single achievement of the Bradley era was the immense program of new investment in ports and airports that allowed LA to become a dominating hub of Pacific Rim commerce, and thus to survive the eventual post-Cold War downsizing of its aerospace economy. Bradley, moreover, was able to accomplish these Robert Moses-like feats despite a hostile environment of tax revolts, government downsizing, and Reaganomics. His administration hewed to the conservative principle, pioneered by Mulholland and his fellow progressives in the Department of Water and Power, that utilities should be self-financing and fiscally inviolable. In other words, any notional profits from the operation of the port, or LAX, must be reinvested in situ. Exploiting tax increment financing, City Hall ratified the same principle for downtown. Fiscal windfalls from the appreciation of publicly subsidized real estate were plowed right back into further redevelopment. These fiscal closed circuits sustained high levels of public investment in container docks, terminal buildings, and downtown bank skyscrapers, that in turn kept happy a huge constituency of pro-globalization interests, including airlines, stevedoring companies, railroads, aerospace exporters, hotels, construction unions, downtown landowners, the Los Angeles Times, Japanese banks, West Side movie studios, big law firms, and the politicians dependent upon the largesse of all of those. But the city was subsidizing globalization without laying any claim on behalf of groups excluded from the direct benefits of international commerce. There was no mechanism to redistribute any share of additional city revenues to purposes other than infrastructure or downtown renewal. There was no linkage, in other words, between corporate-oriented public investment and the social needs that desperately fought for attention in the rest of the city budget. Moreover, the dynamic leadership concentrated on improving the harbor, LAX, and downtown, and later organizing the Bradley Festschriften of the 1984 Olympics, seemed directly subtracted from attention paid to the city's neighborhoods and their subsistence needs. It is astonishing, in retrospect, how little heed City Hall paid to plant closure and redlining in the south-central neighborhoods that were Tom Bradley's original political base, or how little effort was made to redress the generation-long disenfranchisement of the East Side on the city council and the exclusion of Chicanos from significant leadership roles in the ruling coalition. Likewise, it is difficult to explain why the city council failed, despite innumerable warnings and protests, to downzone a city plan that was everywhere destabilizing residential quality of life with massive and irrational densities of permissible new development. Along Ventura Boulevard, skyscrapers were literally sprouting from the front yards of single-family homes. By the time I sat down to write City of Quartz, on the eve of Southern California's greatest post-war recession, Bradley's growth coalition was still intact. Even triumphant, but it was fast losing control of its social landscape. From Porter Ranch to Watts, LA's neighborhoods were ablaze with angry grievances, and suburban sans-culottes were threatening to overthrow the city's ancien regime. In the valley, a so-called slow growth movement had suddenly coalesced out of the molecular agitation of hundreds.